Hey everyone, Rich Gasaway here. A couple of weeks back, I announced I was looking for a department or an association to partner with me to host a situational awareness event on September 26th, which is National Situational Awareness Day. The response has been overwhelming, to say the least. So much so that I had to change the focus to now be a Situational Awareness Month celebration. My new bodacious goal is to train 3,000 first responders in 30 days. That's only an average of 100 a day, so that shouldn't be too hard, right? Well, at least if I get enough program scheduled. It's all starting to come together yet, and I have a room still for a few more program hosts in the month of September. So if you're interested, reach out to me. And the way you do that is go to the samatters.com website, click on the Contact Us link. Oh, and here's another way to get this great content without hosting a live event. The Situational Awareness Matters Online Academy. The Academy teaches situational awareness from A to Z. There are almost 700 students enrolled in the Academy. Did you know that issues related to situational awareness are consistently identified as contributing factors to near misses, injuries, and fatality events? Don't wait until your agency has a catastrophic outcome. Seriously, I can help you take your understanding of situational awareness and high-risk decision-making to a level that it needs to be. Just visit the SA Matters website and click on the green button on the right side of the homepage labeled Online Academy. Okay, the premium enrolled students in the Academy get to participate in a monthly webinar where I have guests to talk about important safety topics. The last guest, a couple weeks ago, was Assistant Chief Doug Klein from the Horry County Fire Rescue Department. And Doug talked about training for safe operations. The next webinar is scheduled for May 10th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time and will feature Chris Naum talking about building construction and the situational awareness connection. Premium enrolled students will get a notification sent to them in the course room along with their login credentials. Okay, enough of the pre-show stuff. Let's roll that podcast intro. Today's episode is sponsored by Midwest Fire. For more than 20 years, Midwest Fire has been manufacturing high-quality tankers, tanker pumpers, and fire rescue vehicles in the United States and Canada. Keeping firefighters safe while enhancing their capabilities is what they do best. To learn more, go to MidwestFire.com.
This is Birmingham Fire Department Assistant Chief Buddy Wilkes, and you are listening to SA Matters Radio Show with Dr. Rich Gasaway. The SA Matters mission is simple. They want to help us see the bad things coming in time to avoid bad outcomes.
Hello and welcome to episode 158 of the Situational Awareness Matters radio show. I'm your host, Rich Gasaway. The purpose of this show is to improve situational awareness and decision-making for individuals and teams who work in high-risk, high-consequence environments. The SA Matters mission is simple, to help you see the bad things coming and time to avoid bad outcomes. This podcast has been downloaded over 205,000 times. That blows my mind. And it also makes this show, SA Matters Radio, officially the single longest consecutive running first responder safety-focused podcast show on the internet. How cool is that? If you want to subscribe to the show, go to iTunes, or if you have an Android device, Stitcher Radio, and search for SA Matters Radio. That's SA Matters Radio. There's also a link to the show right on the homepage of the SA Matters website. I have a very special favor to ask of you. If you subscribe to the show, go to iTunes or Stitcher Radio and give the show a rating and a review. I realize that most of you are not listening to the show while you're sitting at your computer, which means you'd have to remember to do it later. Please, make a note of it. Send yourself a text or whatever, and do it later. It would mean so much to me, and I promise you it will make my day. 2 weeks ago, we accomplished another big milestone for this show as we released episode 156, and that marked our 3-year anniversary for the podcast show. I have released a new episode every Tuesday without fail for 3 consecutive years, and I do that for you, the listeners of this show. You inspire me to work harder. I've been sharing the message of situational awareness and high-risk decision-making in live events for 12 years now. I'm here for the long run, and for so long as I'm able, I will continue to share this message, a message of hope, a message of inspiration, and a message of encouragement for all first responders who want to make sure that they're able to develop and maintain strong situational awareness and make quality, high-risk decisions. I'm dedicated to helping to improve your safety and your survival, and to helping you accomplish the very most important goal of all, to go home to the ones who love you. And speaking of sharing the message, I'm coming to you today from FDNY Training Center on Randall's Island, also known as The Rock. I had the great honor of presenting this morning to 250 members of the FDNY Incident Management Team. What an honor it was. And they gave me a standing ovation, which honestly just doesn't happen very often. So if you notice a little background noise, we're sitting literally outside the lecture hall where the Incident Management Team meeting is continuing at a what I'd call like a cafeteria. So you might hear some noise from pop machines, hear noise from radios, hear noise from people talking, and I just thought it would add some realism to the podcast, so I hope you don't mind that too well. I don't have my regular microphone, so I'm recording off the microphone on the iMac, so I hope that comes out okay too. One of the questions I get asked a lot by readers and listeners are, when are you coming to my area? I want to attend a program. Or where are you going to be next? Great questions, and the answers are real easy to find out. There's a link to the upcoming events right on the homepage of the SA Matters website. Just click on the blue box on the right side of the homepage labeled Upcoming Events Schedule. I feel very blessed to have some very exciting presentations on the horizon, including for the United States Navy, Fire Rescue International, NASA Glenn Research Center, the Amsterdam Fire Brigade, the Dutch Fire Academy, the Antwerp Fire Brigade, and the Institute of Fire Engineers, both Australia branch and New Zealand branch. If you're interested in hosting a Situational Awareness Matters Tour event in 2017 or 2018 for your department or your association or your region or your state or your company, yes, we train private industry too, just contact me through the samatters.com Contact Us tab, and we'll get something set up for you. And it really is that easy, I promise you. In today's feature segment, the 8th podcast in this series, we are once again discussing dangerous mindsets. We're going to cover 9 of them in total, and today we look at the slacker. To recap the 9 dangerous mindsets being covered in this series, in Part 1 we discussed the starter, in Part 2 the subordinate mind, in Part 3 the specialist mind, in Part 4 the superior mind, in Part 5, the stubborn mind. In Part 6, we discussed the silent mind. And last week, we discussed the superhero mind. And today, we're going to discuss the slacker mind. We'll wrap up the series next week with a discussion of the synergist. Okay, let's jump into today's feature segment on dangerous mindset of the slacker. Stick around. When the feature segment is done, I will tell you where you can attend an upcoming Situational Awareness Matters Tour Stop event. Who knows? Maybe I'm going to be right in your state or right in your county. All right, now on to the feature segment of Mindset of the Slacker. Slacker. A noun. A person who avoids work or effort. I think we all knew that already. The slacker does the least amount of work possible to remain employed. They are a minimal contributor and seem to be content with their mediocrity. Getting them enthusiastic about their work is like trying to get a lazy dog to fetch a stick. Or, less generously, it's like trying to teach a pig to sing. You're not going to be successful, and you're only going to annoy the pig. The origins of the slacker. I would like to think that an organization does not set out to have slackers, and hopefully has some mechanisms in place during the hiring process to hire non-slackers. If slackers are hired into the organization from the start, then shame on the leadership for failing to fix the root cause of the problem, and that being the hiring practices. But let's assume for a moment that an organization goes to great lengths to hire bright, enthusiastic, and motivated recruits. And further, let's assume that the organization is successful in hiring high-performance employees. If that's the case, then where does the slacker come from? If the organization hires good people, the slackers are made from within the organization. But how? One way might be the influence of slacker peers or slacker supervisors. But if the organization hires only high-performing employees, and if we can assume it promotes on the same premise, then where do these slacker peers and slacker supervisors come from? You got it. They are made from within the organization. Beat down. I once saw a bumper sticker that said, "The beatings will continue until the morale improves." I had to laugh at the irony contained within that statement and how it juxtapositions the contrast notion that an employer can use discipline to improve an organization. The employees I have spoken to who are slackers did not start that way. They were created through repetitive exposure to poor leaders who berated them and demoralized them. Eventually, like a dog who is beaten repetitively, they withdraw and realize it is better to do nothing, as doing nothing results in the same, or sometimes less, consequences than trying to make a difference. What is the use becomes the mantra of the slacker. Complacent. A slacker can also be a victim of complacency. If a slacker finds a shortcut or performs his or her work with less than maximum effort and has no consequences, this can actually serve as a positive reinforcement that the job can actually be accomplished with less effort or in a shorter way. No one is there to hold the slacker accountable, and the slacking becomes the norm. An acceptable reduction in effort with a perception the outcome will be the same, or even better, with less effort. It may be difficult to convince a chronically complacent individual that their behavior norm has a flaw. After all, there has been no consequence up to this point. What's the likelihood that there's going to be one now? Frustration. Slackers create frustration because they seem to be so indifferent to their plight. They may even seem indifferent to your safety, and worst of all, they may seem indifferent to their own safety. It almost defies logic that a person would become so lazy that they would jeopardize their own safety. But it's doubtful they see it that way. They see their slacking as a strategy that works, and the results are favorable. After all, they're putting in far less effort than you, not sweating the details of their work at all. In fact, literal sweat has probably not dampened their brow in quite some time, and they get the same paycheck as you, regardless of their minimal effort. So really, who's the fool? Dangerous. The slacker is dangerous because they have become indifferent to the deterioration of their skills. If the only person they could harm were themselves, then it might not be nearly as bad. But in the high-risk, low-frequency, dynamically changing environments that first responders operate in, no one operates in a vacuum. The performance of the team is only as strong as its weakest link, and the slacker is the weak link. Something, or better yet, someone, got them into this state. Someone hurt them along the way, and their pain and fear is causing them to avoid taking risks. This is going to sound bizarre when I suggest this, and quite frankly, I'm not sure if I blame you for thinking that I'm a kook for suggesting it, but here goes. Apologize. What? I can almost hear you screaming at me through the podcast. Apologize for what? You didn't do anything wrong. In nearly all cases, this will be true. You did not create the problem, but you're surely being affected by it. Don't deny it. It eats at you like termites gnaw on fresh wood. But if you didn't do anything wrong, why would I recommend that you apologize? Because they are hurt, and they need to hear someone say that they are sorry for how they have been made to feel, be that angry, resentful, or hurt. Assuming you are not the one who created this mess, the apology can be an indirect apology. What does that mean? It means you can't apologize for the mess that you did not create, but you can show regret that it happened. Get them to talk to you about why they give so little effort, but do not be confrontational. If you can get them to open up, they're going to tell you why they are hurt and angry and who is to blame. When you say, I understand why you feel that way and I regret that this has happened to you, I'm sorry. What can I do to help make this right? Chances are they'll say there isn't anything that you can do, but it gives them the chance to say if there is. Then ask them for help. Tell them that you're afraid of getting hurt because the team needs to be strong and you need them to help you ensure the team is strong. Chances are no one has talked to them, which is with such compassion for a very, very long time. Depending on how hardened their heart has become, they may not be willing to go on board right away. Give them a little time and space if this is the case. You can't rush the healing of a wound. Sometimes it takes time. But if you keep showing that you care for them and the fact that they were wounded by someone at some point, by showing them genuine compassion and concern, it may result in helping to strengthen the team. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain from making the effort to light the fire in the slacker. Well, as I reflect on the last sentence, I guess in reality you have a lot to lose if the slacker results in you becoming a casualty. If you've experienced or witnessed a near miss and would like to have a platform to share your lessons learned with others, contact me by visiting the SA Matters website and clicking on the Contact Us tab on the top of the homepage. Think about it for a moment. The lessons learned from your near-miss event could save the life of another first responder. That's powerful. If you want to share your experience, contact me. Okay, as I always do, I want to take a moment to thank the departments and the organizations that have hosted some great situational awareness training for their members. I do this to show my appreciation to those organizations who have put forth the effort to advertise and organize and fund great training experiences for their departments. Your efforts to bring this valuable and powerful training on situational awareness and high-risk decision-making to your members and others in the region are greatly appreciated. The IAFC, International Association of Fire Chiefs, Company Officer Leadership Symposium, Blue Springs, Missouri. The Lancaster Fire Department, Lancaster, Texas. The Washington State Hazardous Materials Conference in Richland, Washington. The Oregon Fire Training Officers Association Conference in Medford, Oregon. The Penticton, British Columbia Fire Department. The Creston, British Columbia Fire Department. And the International Fire Department Instructors Conference, FDIC, in Indianapolis. And of course, where I am today, the Fire Department for the City of New York Incident Management Team. Then tomorrow, I will be in Orangeburg, New York. That's May 3rd, May 4th in Mamaroneck, New York, May 6th and 7th in Toronto, Canada for the Ontario Fire Chiefs Conference, followed by the Ontario Fire Training Officers Conference. May 16th in Hartford, Connecticut, May 17 to 25 at the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, October 31 in Colorado Springs, Colorado, June 10th, Beaver Lake, Arkansas, June 12 to 16 at the Woodlands Fire Department in Woodlands, Texas, and June 21 at the Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Department. If you'd like to see the locations of all the upcoming Situational Awareness Matters tour stop events, head over to the SA Matters website, click on the blue box on the right side of the homepage labeled Upcoming Events Schedule. Here's hoping there'll be a tour stop near you. The last time I did a program in southwest Minnesota, I stopped by to visit the sponsor of this podcast, Midwest Fire. Midwest Fire makes all poly fire apparatus that are changing the industry. You seriously need to check them out at MidwestFire.com. Anyhow, I got a chance to sit down and talk to a few of their employees about what separates Midwest Fire from their competitors. Let's listen into the conversation that I had with engineer Tyler LeBrun talking about lean manufacturing and how this differentiates Midwest Fire from their competitors. So Tyler, in a conversation that we had earlier, you mentioned the term lean process or lean manufacturing. And then when we were out on the shop floor, you were like snapping around these Japanese terms that I guess in the lean manufacturing world means something. What is all this voodoo magic of lean manufacturing or lean process? What does it mean, and why would a customer even care that you run a lean facility?
Well, one of the big things with lean is it's very focused on the customer. Basically, you look at it as what the customer is willing to pay for. There's waste in our process. There's waste in everybody's process that they have if they own any type of business. And what waste is defined as is anything the customer is not willing to pay for. We had a good example down there of, maybe you've been in some different shops and seen stuff just scattered around everywhere, like maybe a floor jack, like somebody used it and left it right there. Well, now the next time somebody wants to go find that floor jack, if they've got to walk around for 5 or 10 minutes, that's a waste that the customer's not willing to pay for. They don't want our guys to be down here wandering around looking for parts. They want them to be putting things onto their truck, and that stuff is value added. The walking around and stuff that you're not willing to pay for is non-value added. And that's really what drives down and brings us to be able to offer something better to the customer, that we are building a truck more efficiently, which obviously passes savings on to them. We talked about our inventory control system, Kanban, one of those fun Japanese words, that basically allows for a system to be around our parts ordering, that the operators control that they go down, they reach a minimum point, they pull a card, they do that kind of stuff, but the parts are always there for them. Not only are the parts always there, but there's not an excess amount of those parts, which costs us money to carry, which we would then obviously, no doubt, have to pass on to the customer. But by reducing all these costs, getting rid of all the waste, we're really able to better give the customer a more quality truck, faster and possibly at less cost than a competitor.
So everybody here, I assume, has to go through some training to learn how to be part of a lean process manufacturing? Yep.
So there's a couple of different ways that we've done that. There's been some guys that have been able to go out and do actual hands-on training at some seminars or that kind of stuff. We've also gone out and taken tours of some real-world class facilities in the area that we've been lucky enough to have. We also do some mentorship. That's something that I've been able to take my experience and kind of help the guys look at all that kind of stuff. But it really boils down to having a team that's willing to work together and continuously improve. And that continuous improvement is the big thing, is that we don't have a set goal in mind that we are going to be at X in 2016 and then we're never going to do anything again. Lean is really about continuous improvement and just realizing that you're constantly in the pursuit of perfection. If you're not improving, you're on the decline. So that's really some of the ideas behind that, the continuous improvement, and obviously training the employees.
Well, there you have it, folks. Continuous self-improvement in lean manufacturing. It's what separates Midwest Fire from their competitors. Check them out at MidwestFire.com. Thank you to Midwest Fire President Sarah Atchison and all your staff for your awesome commitment to improving first responder safety. I sincerely appreciate your support of my mission. If you're not a member of the SA Matters community of learners yet, consider joining. There are over 5,000 members connected here on SA Matters, sharing ideas about how to improve situational awareness, how to make better decisions under stress, and how to train members to be critical thinkers and resilient problem solvers. Membership is free, and when you sign up, I'll send you a special report that I've created for the new members called 25 Best Practices for Improving First Responder Safety. Joining also gets you my monthly email newsletter. It contains featured content from the blogs and podcasts, and it truly is the best way for us to stay in touch with one another. So if you're not a member, head over to the SA Matters website, click on the red box on the right side of the homepage labeled Free Membership. If you want to get connected with me on Twitter, you can follow @Rich Gasaway on Twitter. On LinkedIn, you can search for Rich Gasaway. On YouTube, you can watch my videos on the SA Matters TV YouTube channel. And on Facebook, you can like the SA Matters page. Well, that's it. Episode 158 is complete. Thank you to our awesome podcast sponsor, Midwest Fire. Thank you to all of our live event hosts. Thank you to our more than 700 online academy students. And thank you, our listeners, for sharing some of your valuable time with me today. I really appreciate your support of the SA Matters mission. Be safe out there. and may the peace of the Lord and strong situational awareness be with you always.
You've been listening to the Situational Awareness Matters radio show with Dr. Richard B. Gasaway. If you are interested in learning more about situational awareness, human factors, and decision-making under stress, visit samatters.com. If you are interested in booking Dr. Gasaway for an upcoming event, visit his personal website at richgasaway.com.